Hey guys, James Vandenberg here with Antler Athlete. Today we are going to do a do-it-yourself European mount. It is a couple days after muzzleloader season here. We knocked down a good buck, not good enough to mount, but good enough to Euro. So we're going to go ahead and go through a European mount here today on how I do it and maybe some tips that'll make it easier for you guys. So what we need here today, I'm going to give you all the basic ingredients. We basically need a turkey boiler. This is just your standard your turkey boiler. We bought an extra pan. Do not use your wife's biggest cooking pan. Go to Walmart, buy one. They're cheap. I use this permanently for all the skulls. We're gonna need a propane tank. Obviously, we need the European mount that we're trying to use, and we're gonna need a knife. We're also gonna need a car wash, but I will show you guys car washer or power washer, but we'll get to that in step 3. So first step here with these European mounts is one that's not going to be on this video, and that's going to be the skinning of the face of the deer. So skinning of the face of the deer is pretty straightforward. The reason it's not going to be on this video is I did it when I didn't have my GoPro around, and because it's so dang cold here in Iowa, I actually did it in our guest room shower. So no video evidence for my wife is probably better for me. So we're going to skip straight to step 2. And step 2 is literally getting this boiler set up. So what we have here, like I said, is we have a turkey boiler, and we have filled that about 3/4 full with water and dish soap. Okay, as you can see, we got it to a nice boil right now. It's running off propane. That dish soap's gonna, 1, it's gonna help the smell, and 2, it's gonna help break down what's left over on this skull. So what you can see is after I've skinned this skull, we've got it as clean as possible. So I've taken off the back jaw. I've got as much of the under of the tongue out from under it. I've got the eyes out as good as I could. The pedicles are pretty clean. Basically, you want to clean as much of this off with a knife before we get to this stage. So the more you get off with a knife, the more patient you are picking this off with a knife, the quicker and easier the actual boil and the final cleaning will go. So we spent a couple hours the other night, whittled away. That is, once again, just a look at how clean our skull is. I wouldn't say it's the cleanest I've ever done, but it'll be plenty good for what we're gonna do today. So step 2, like I said, is the boil here after we've skinned the face. So we're going to go ahead and drop this in. There's no secret to dropping this in the pan. Basically, you'd like to keep it off the antlers as much as possible. So if you boil those antlers, they will turn darker. We would prefer to not do that. So what you're going to see is I'm going to drop this in here. The water should come up just to about the base of the antlers, but we don't really want the antlers technically boiling. So let's go ahead and drop this in. So what you can see here now that I've got it dropped in is that water. It's kind of hard to see with the steam, but it is up right to the base of the pedicles. And actually what you'll see on the back is the back of the skull is technically not underwater right now, which is totally fine. We'd rather have it off that antler rather than submerging the whole skull. So now we're going to keep it at just a slow boil. If you get it to a real rolling boil, what happens with these turkey cookers is it spills over, knocks out your flame. You got to relight it over and over and over again. Keep it at a nice gentle boil. You don't need it rolling. And then one of the keys as we do this, it's going to take about an hour or 2 hours tops. It'll happen pretty quick, and this stuff will just come melting off. But one thing is keep adding water to keep it at that highest level possible without being on the horns. So we're going to keep adding it by the cupful as this water evaporates and disappears. We're going to add water, keep it at the base of those horns for as long as we can. So now it's kind of just a waiting game while we let this stuff boil and loosen off. So keep the water on it, keep her boiling, make sure your flame's going. And step 2 is where you get to go in and just watch TV and wait for it all to fall off. Okay, well here we are, guys. It has been an hour and a half. This is what our skull looks like now. As you can see, a lot of that stuff's already fallen off. We've got plenty of meat still here on the underside, but for the most part, it's already starting to look better. So we're gonna call it good here on this. An hour and a half is plenty. Basically what you're looking for is you're looking for all of that meat. I don't even want to gross you out, but you want it to all be cooked. So you want it to look like it's cooked. That means it's going to fall off. So what we're going to do next is what I consider step 3, is we're going to start the scraping process. So I'm going to do a little bit of this just with a knife, but most of it's going to be done with a power washer. So we're going to turn off the camera, head to the nearest car wash, get a power wash in our hands, and take you guys through power washing this all the meat off. As you guys can see, I'm sitting here in an indoor car wash where I can use a power washer. Power washing it is so much faster, so much easier. You don't got to worry about the waste. We still might have to take a knife to some things here, but for the most part, this power washer is going to get almost everything off. So be careful with the power washer. As you power wash this excess flesh off, watch out for that nose piece. It'll like to break. But if you're careful, this is the bee's knees on cleaning up your skull. So let's go ahead, get this thing power washed and get it cleaned up. So there you have it. Besides maybe getting a little brain splattered on us, wear old clothes, by the way. You can see how clean this skull is. That took about 6 minutes of power washing. We're gonna go home. We'll be able to clean up the rest in 5 or 10 minutes with a knife, and then we'll get into how to bleach this sucker white. So stay tuned. We got one more step to finish this up. Okay guys, we're in the final step of finishing up this do-it-yourself European mount. We have taken the skull after power washing it and just cleaned it up a little more with a knife. Got as much of the gunk out as possible. What I can tell you is you could always pick more gunk away. You could sit here for 10 hours and try to get every shred off. We've got it pretty clean, and this next part's really gonna dry it out, which is gonna help it anyway. So the last part is bleaching this thing. So what you're gonna need to bleach it is hydrogen peroxide, very simple, 44 cents at Walmart. You're gonna need some paper towels, and we're gonna need like an old Walmart sack, and a little bit of masking tape just to hold it all together. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna wad these paper towel balls up, and we're gonna shove it in every orifice in this deer. So in the brain cavity, in the eye sockets, the front eye sockets, the nose piece, we're gonna fill those with paper towel, and then what we're gonna do is we're going to wrap the skull and tape it. So basically this whole skull is gonna be wrapped in paper towels. The biggest note on this is you can't get hydrogen peroxide on the antlers, so make sure you wrap those paper towels right at the base of the pedicle, not going onto the pedicle at all, because it will bleach your pedicle if you get hydrogen peroxide on there. So we're gonna go ahead, stuff in the eye socket, stuff in the nose socket, tape it up, and get it ready to go. Okay guys, we've got him all wrapped up. You can see he's literally wrapped up like a mummy. We've got it stuffed into all the eye sockets. You can see some of this stuff isn't really tight to his skull right now, but as soon as we get it wet with the peroxide, it's gonna soak it all down. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna soak this thing with peroxide, remembering to not get it on the antlers. We're gonna soak it in peroxide, get it all dousing, let it soak through all of these paper towels, and then we're gonna put it in that Walmart sack, tie it up over the skull just to help hold that moisture in. Basically, we want it to just keep soaking for as long as possible, and that Walmart sack is going to help keep some of that moisture in there, so that keeps interacting with the skull. So what we're going to do is we're going to let this sit 3 or 4 days, re-soaking it about every day and a half or 2 days. So I'll probably re-soak it 2 or 3 times, and in 3 or 4 days, we're going to pull it out, and it's going to be pearly white. It's going to be ready for the wall. Well, here we are, guys, day 5. This thing's ready to be unwrapped. You can see it here. It's been wrapped in the sack here for 5 days, the Walmart sack with the paper towels. We're gonna take it off, see what it looks like, but just looking at it from here, I can tell it's pretty bleached out. So let's take a look. Hey, no, 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 hey. Okay, guys, there you go. This is do-it-yourself Euro mount. It looks pretty dang good. This thing will keep drying out too, so whatever it looks like right now, you can just assume as this keeps drying, it's going to keep sucking that bleach out. and keep bleaching that skull. So this thing's gonna go on the wall now with all the other Euros. It's gonna be good to the collection. So you guys got any questions, fire them away in the comment section. Once again, this is just a do-it-yourself way to do a whitetail European mount. So hopefully this is easy. Hopefully it's straightforward. I'll tell you guys it works. Have a good one, guys.
No, no.